Hello, everyone. I want you all to imagine a gold mine. What do you visualize? You visualize heavy earth moving equipment, lifting equipment, deep pits dug into the earth. Now, let's focus back on the smartphones and laptops and computers. What do you do with them when they become dysfunctional? You think of it as waste, you trash it. I'm going to say to you that it is not waste, but is almost a gold mine, having half the periodic table in your mobile phones that you're carrying with you. I'm going to talk about this trash today, which is called popularly as electronic waste. So what does electronic waste mean to all of us? We must be having different kind of interpretation of it. Let me put it straight. Broadly speaking, electronic waste is all the kinds of electrical and electronic equipment, including the photovoltaic cells, that become unserviceable at the end of their life and they are sent in the waste stream. This also includes the production or manufacturing waste that we all have in the factories and industries. This is broadly the definition of electronic waste today. So what's the problem with this electronic waste? How does it become an issue for all of us? Well, this is the fastest growing waste stream on this planet. It's growing almost at the rate of 28 million tons, metric million tons, year on year. In 22, the planet generated about 62 million tons of electronic waste and collected back only 22 million tons. So 40 million tons, we don't know where it went. And it's likely to go up to 82 million tons, which is phenomenal. Now, this is the fast pace of consumption of raw materials which goes into production of these gadgets. And this is what is unsustainability. The planet cannot bear the stress of producing so much of gadgets on this and for consumption. So what's really pushing this consumption pattern and these production patterns? There are essentially 2 or 3 reasons for this, or drivers for this. One is newer products, that means innovation at a very fast pace. We are getting more products onto the shelves. Second is planned obsolescence, what we call the design for obsolescence, like software not updating, lower warranties, and so on and so forth. And the third thing is about planned obsolescence, and there is another reason for it to be this growing patterns of this waste generation. So this is a big problem that we have about the waste volumes that we have. And consumer preference is another one that I'm talking about, is about all of us want to pick up a new gadget the moment it is out in the market. There are queues on the retail stores. These are the reasons. So if this waste is such a big problem, what are the issues that are associated with this rising waste problems? I think one of the major reasons, let me break it down for you to understand as to why it is such a big problem. 2 important issues which are associated with it. One is the nature of material which is used, and that's the composition of this waste. One kind of material that is used in this is about the highly hazardous and toxic materials that are used in manufacturing processes. They are like lead, mercury, cadmium, the flame retardants, even the plastics. So if they are not handled or processed properly at the end of the life, most of these chemicals get released into the environment, causing environmental concern and also public health concern. So this is a major issue with this. Now, there is a second set of materials which are available in this, and that's very interesting. This is what the world is talking about it, and there's a renewed kind of a spotlight on all these materials. I'm talking about the critical raw materials. The whole world is talking about it today. And the rare earth metals which are available, plus the precious metals which are available, and they go into manufacturing much of these electronic products. They are creating global or geopolitical vulnerabilities because of because these are concentrated only in few countries, and the supply chain is very, very restricted and can get disrupted. And this is where the issue of urban mining comes in. We can really move inwards to create sovereignty of materials if we do urban mining in a manner that it is required to be done. And for a country like ours, it becomes absolutely critical for us to think of this. So this is where we come in. So let's talk about what is happening in India. This is important for us to understand. Now, the Indian story about electronic waste started way back in 2000 with a report which was released by Toxics Link, an environmental NGO, and my journey is with Toxics Link. Now, this was a report released in 2000, and it gave out a landscape of how electronic waste was being handled in India. Way back in around 2000, we were not only generating a very small amount of waste, we didn't have much of understanding, but we were receiving a lot of waste from the developed world. This was the waste dumping that we were burdened with, and this was the burden that we had to bear as a nation at that point of time. The problem that has been resolved a little bit. We don't have so much of waste being dumped into the country, but we had no capacity to deal with this waste in around 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A lot of development has happened since then, and I'd like to discuss some of the developments that have happened. So today we generate about, at this point of time, India generates about 2 million metric tons of waste, and which is likely to go up to 5 million metric tons of waste. We are the third largest waste generator in the world after China and US. We are the third largest generators. Big problem, large volumes, so we need to do something about it. As we can understand that, with much discussion and deliberation on this issue, we came up with a regulation to manage this waste in 2011, which got revised in 16 and in 22. So 2011 regulation, there's an important component of this regulation, and I must tell you about it, is something, the concept which is called as extended producer responsibility, which means that the responsibility of handling this waste is placed in the hands of the manufacturers, importers, and the brand owners. And this has been a massive shift in how we are trying to manage waste in India. So that happened, but in the 22 regulations, something has fundamentally changed. We have an online system today, which is the tracking mechanism for this. We track the waste from its generation to the time the waste is actually refined and metals are recovered from it. There are 4 metals that we are essentially tracking today, that is gold, silver, copper, and aluminum. These are the only 4 metals that we are tracking, and we are refining it. Some of it is the limitation of the technical capacity, but the issue is that we are not talking about the other raw materials, the critical ones and the most problematic raw materials that we are not able to track or even recover and refine. So this is a limitation that we have at this point of time. On the other hand, simultaneously, what happened in this period, that there has been a significant growth in the recycling infrastructure in this country. We have, as on today, about over 380 recyclers and refurbishers in this country with a capacity of about 2.3 million metric tons. So we are generating about 2.6 to 2 million tons, and we are having the capacity for about 2.3 million metric tons. But we are unable to process this, and most of these plants and recycling facilities are underutilized at this point of time because they're not able to access the waste at this place. So where is the waste going? I think that's a question that everybody would be asking. Where is this waste going if they are not able to access waste? Well, this waste is actually going into the hands of what we call in our parlance in India is the informal sector, which is not very formal, which is not very mainstream. So most of this waste goes into the informal sector. And what are the challenges with the informal sector? Most of the informal sector, the waste, they are collecting, they are good collectors, they are recycling, they are trading, and they are dismantling this waste. So these are the 4 functions that happens with the informal sector. But the question is that they are very, very, the processes that they employ or they engage with is highly unsafe and inefficient, losing out on a lot of these materials, and also creating harm to themselves because they're not using any of those technology that we are supposed to use in making it safe for material recovery. I personally have visited many of these recycling clusters across the country and do find that the process is hazardous and toxic, plus many of these workers, both men and women, report multiple kinds of health issues with them. But on the other hand, this informal sector is bestowed with a huge amount of strengths and advantages. What are these? I think the advantages that the informal sector enjoys is about phenomenal network across the country, extensive reach to access waste, and the third point is about low operating costs, making them very, very competitive. These are the multiple advantages. I think they are the invisible backbone of the collection mechanism that the country has today. It is important to integrate this sector into mainstream so that they can create an assured material supplies for the refining industry. This is absolutely critical. So what do we do from here? How do we move forward as a nation? I think there are clear-cut three messages that I like to give, and what are the kinds of challenges and how do we overcome this. One is setting up of refining facilities across the country, high-tech refining facilities, creating a collection mechanism, a strong collection mechanism, and the third point is about encouraging the industry to produce or manufacture greener products, much better products that we need today. And finally, I come down to what we as citizens can do. We are all generators of this waste. We have a role to play in this. I think there are three important messages that I'd like to give to you, to all of us, that we can do, is about responsible consumption. We need to just pause and think before consuming. Responsible disposal, please think about it when you're disposing. And these are two, and third is about reducing the waste that we generate. So I think the way that we can do is refurbishments, repairs, and hand-me-down. So these are something that we all as citizens can do. And finally, to sum it up, I'd like to say to all of us, let's look at our drawers and our attics, pull out these mines that we have as gold mines that I just mentioned, and put it back into this reverse supply chain process and be part of this circular economy journey. Thank you all. Thank you so much.